So again, the goal would be that the instructors meet towards the end of the summer or early fall of this year and develop a rubric for performative assessments, whatever they want that to look like. There are some things that we would need to keep in mind. The high school teachers would need to incorporate time during the school year for personalized learning opportunities, so students could kind of practice that before they did the performative assessment towards the end of the school year. Connecting theory to practice, according to laymen, we would need to examine the choice given to the students. The student learning and design is the goal. And so in order to do that, we would need to do two main things: open the calendar as students work well under their own choice when they can work on the performative assessment kind of on their own timeline. Open it up at the beginning of the year and give them that date at the end of the year. We could find class time, in-class time to do it more frequently towards the end of the year, but some students do well on that open calendar concept. And then according to Tucker, give students the end goal. Here's what you need to do for their performative assessment. Here's what the rubric says. Here's the things that you need to meet, but don't tell them how to do it. There's lots of different paths that they can discover for themselves in how to reach that end goal. And again, the end goal is for them to display their mathematical knowledge. So beyond that, after we gave the students the tools and kind of let them choose how to display their performative assessments, we would need to create a committee within NCTC and Flower Mound High School and have both institutions represented and form a committee that towards the end of the school year, the students could present their work and based on that deemed college ready or not. The work would still need to be rigorous. It's not a gimme grade, but again, it's an alternate means of assessing their mathematical understanding. The TEA requests 55% of funding received from that college career military readiness go back into that. And so the district could put funding, that funding that they get from the bonus program, into paying teachers for extra in the summer to create this curriculum, planning days for these performative assessments, invest in technology to improve the assessment. And this use of funds is so much more real world applications than the SAT or ACT prep, and it allows for students to receive personalized learning. Eventually, we would love to get students more adequately placed as college ready, and they would do that by demonstrating their mathematical knowledge through their choice. This will save students time and money later on if they are deemed college ready through performative assessments. This is kind of an optional large scale stakeholder option. If the district or NCTC wanted to, we could collect a lot of data on the performative assessments and track those students as they go from the high school to the college level, and we deemed them college ready. How are they actually doing in these transfer level courses without the developmental course or without the support? If it proves that through performative assessments, through student choice, we were able to say you demonstrated mathematical knowledge, you did well in the college course, great. We might have an argument for TEA that maybe you could give bonus towards not only SAT, ACT, TSI, but you could also give us funding for these students that we deem college ready through performative assessments. That would need to look like NCTC and Flower Mound High School keeping each other accountable and making sure that we're collecting data on the students from year to year. I'm going to skip this slide because it's just a description of the next one. It's a timeline. So again, we would meet and develop the metrics for their performative assessments, create the rubric curriculum, and then those high school teachers would implement the curriculum. Towards the end of the school year, the students would demonstrate their knowledge through however they decided to do this performative assessment, and the committee formed would deem them yes or no college ready. The next summer, we would need to meet, debrief, reflect on what went well, what didn't go well, and tweak the program moving forward. And then the second year of high school students, seniors would do these performative assessments. The seniors that were just deemed college ready would go to NCTC, and they'd be monitored in how they're doing in their math courses to see if this is actually working. And we would keep that going, and eventually, if the district or college wanted to share the results with TEA and make the argument that you could also receive funding through performative assessments, because we've hopefully proven that it works. I want to describe this as just a flowchart that I made on the current model versus my proposed model, and kind of the differences between the two. So I'll let you go back and look at that if you want to. Again, for our professional development, there's a couple of core values that we need to keep at the center when developing these performative assessments. Again, equity, we would need to keep those equitable indicators in mind to create a curriculum and instruction that minimizes bias. There needs to be respect between the high school and higher education teams. There has to be that expectation we're treating each other with respect and allowing everyone's voice to be heard, because without establishing that foundation, effective collaboration is going to be difficult to obtain. And it's imperative that there is constant collaboration between the high school and the higher institution, and that the workload is evenly distributed and it's not falling upon the high school teachers solely. And then, of course, the action is to create that plan for the successful performative assessment so it can be implemented to allow students to have that choice and display their mathematical knowledge. I won't discuss this too in detail, but there have been successful examples globally, such as Finland, Australia, England. They assess students through performative assessments, and these are leaders in STEM innovation. Nationally, again, states can decide how they want to demonstrate that college, career, military readiness. Other states have begun implementing or have already been implementing performative assessments and have seen successes in that. Most specifically, California does this, and it serves as a learning community consisting of policymakers, educators, and researchers to ensure that the assessment is legitimate but equity-centered. There's lots of benefits, but the main one is for the students. If there are students that are not getting adequately placed as college ready, but they are college ready, then there's definitely something that needs to be done about that. I believe performative assessments is a good means of doing that. Between the ISD, the college, and TEA, through this Venn diagram that I've created, they can all kind of keep each other accountable for either, the district improving college readiness, or TEA has a goal of by 2030, 60% of the graduates in Texas will have a job. They have proved that they're they're college ready. And so in order to help reach this goal, I believe performative assessments could help us with that. Okay, that is my presentation. I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry if it took too long. I went ahead and I'm going to throw my reflection at the end of this as well, simply because if I were to put this and present this professional development proposal to a district, I could easily take this last slide off. So This is important to me. I am a instructor at NCTC. I'm a math instructor. I see this issue happening. I see students who are in my co-requisite courses who do, I believe, benefit from those co-requisite courses. Okay, great. However, I also see students who have no business being in those co-requisite courses. They would do just fine solely in the transfer level course. And so because of these college, career, military readiness standards, because they couldn't meet a certain threshold on a standardized assessment, they have to spend extra time and money doing these co-requisite courses, and it doesn't seem fair to me. They seem like they would be doing just fine without it. And so I think if they were given the opportunity to implement or even display their knowledge differently than a high stakes assessment, then they would do very well. And so that's my whole argument. I believe there needs to be another means of assessing college readiness. So I believe these performative assessments kind of solve two issues. They solve, or they allow for, I should say, student choice. I can't count on probably one hand the amount of students that like taking high stakes assessments versus maybe creating a project or however they would display that knowledge for this assessment. And then this assessment also reaches a lot of equity issues that exist because of high stakes assessments. And so it would help alleviate some of those equitable issues as those students transition from high school to higher education. This is something that I've considered a potential dissertation topic on. I would love to speak to you more about this or even hear your feedback on anything about this. Either personalizing learning from the high school to the college as we are assessing that college readiness, or even once they got to the college level and they are placed in these co-requisite courses, and these are the students who have been quote unquote not as strong in math as maybe some of the students that are deemed college ready, how to personalize that learning and how to make their math experience maybe a little better than they've had in the past. So I really appreciate your time. I've loved this course. I've loved our in-class discussions, and I look forward to continue to working with you as an advisor. Thank you so much.